Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking labor and delivery. So I wanted to share with you my experience. I just had my first child 3.5 weeks ago. It's a boy. He was a big old baby, and I just thought some of you might find this interesting. So let's get into it. On September 1st, that was my due date, I went to bed around 11 o'clock. I woke up at 1 a.m. to go to the bathroom. At 1 a.m., I'm sitting on the toilet doing my thing, and all of a sudden I feel an interesting warmth. And I look, and it was very clear to me that my water had broken, which kind of surprised me because I thought that that probably wouldn't happen. I know it doesn't happen for a lot of people, but I had a lot of fluid retention, and so that could be why. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, just a hypothesis, but so my water broke at 1 a.m. and I was like, oh crap, okay, game time. Like, I need to get into the hospital. I need to go. So I come out to the bedroom and I said, hey Tyler, my water just broke. And I have never seen that man spring out of bed so fast. He was up and at 'em, and we were calling the doctor, and they said, yep, we let the hospital know, go ahead and go in. And so we just grabbed all of our bags that were packed and went straight there. All right, so it's 1:45 a.m. I got up at 1 and went to the bathroom, and my water broke. Definitely was not hard to tell that my water broke. And so Tyler and I are driving to the hospital, and I'm not dying yet. Just like, I can tell my body's starting to labor, but so far so good, so I'm grateful. We're also kind of matching. We're wearing white v-neck t-shirts and black sweatpants, both of us. That wasn't planned. But I felt a little twinge just there. But yeah, so we'll check in with you in a little bit. So when we got to the hospital, I was like, yo, I'm in labor, whatever. They were like, okay, great. They put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me on up. They check me, they're like, yep, you are about 4 centimeters dilated. Your water did break. Good to go. Like, let's get you into the labor room. So at this point, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. They take me down to the labor and delivery room, give me the IV, and it was hilarious because the nurse was so nice, but she really struggled with the IV. That was one of the worst things about my experience. It was just like so disgusting to me, getting that in sort of like a tender area of your hand. And so she struggled for a while, and then finally got it, and ugh, I wanted that thing out of me so fast. All right, so we're here. I'm hooked up to this thing. Can hear Weston's heart rate. I'm having some contractions, but they're not really that painful yet. Hopefully they won't hit me by surprise. I kind of feel a little bit like nervous, I guess, but I can have the epidural anytime I want, so there's that. Got my IV going. Tyler's sleeping on the couch, doing his dad thing. I told him to get some rest. How do I turn this around? There's that little sleepy head. Oh, hopefully baby will be here by morning-ish. We'll see. And then contractions really started picking up, and I was like, ow, like shoot, this is getting serious. I was like holding my husband's hand, like, you know, like breathing through it, focusing, you know, it really started to hurt. Well, it's almost 6 a.m. I have not seen the midwife yet, but she'll be in around 6. Contractions are definitely heating up. They do not feel good. And so I'm gonna get my epidural soon.
And I'm like so sleepy. Woe is me. Life's really hard for Tyler right now.
So at that point I got checked again. I was 6 to 7 centimeters dilated, and I decided to go ahead and get the epidural, which I had planned on. I did not plan on a natural birth.
All right, so I just got my epidural. I'm feeling like $1,000,000. Can't feel anything from like my waist down, but doing a lot better. That was such an amazing relief of pain. And I feel really relaxed, and I should probably sleep because I'm gonna have to push in the next couple hours, I bet, but I just am kind of hype right now, so it's hard to relax and go to sleep, but probably gonna try to do that after I have my cranberry juice and ginger ale. Tyler's doing good. He feels better now that I'm not in pain. He was a little worried about me, but all is well. Haven't felt a contraction since he pretty much stuck me with that epidural needle, so I hate IVs.
So I ordered the epidural. About 45 minutes later, this really sweet guy shows up. He's like really confident, and that put me at ease so much about getting that needle in my back. So I just tried to stay focused during that procedure. I did not look at that needle. I did not like think about it at all. I just let him work and just kind of sat there and we chatted and whatever, and I just, you know, they have you hunch over, so you're just like trying to ignore the fact that there's this giant needle that's about to go into your back. But at that point you're in so much pain, you really don't care. You just want to be out of pain. So got the epidural, and wow, did that work fast. Like, it worked so fast. I was totally numb from like the hips down. I could still contract my stomach muscles. I could still feel what I was doing. It was really great. Like, I know some people go numb all the way up to here. That's really scary. I did not have any problem with that. The only thing that happened was my right leg got more numb than my left leg, and we'll get to that later.
All right, so it is now 11:20 in the morning, and so far I've only dilated to 7, and nothing's really happened recently in the progress, and so decided to take the Pitocin.
So Ms. Combs, how you feeling?
Totally numb.
This is Dr. Combs. I'm going to be your doctor today.
Oh my gosh, we're playing doctor all of a sudden.
So I'm looking at your charts, and it does still look like you're about 4.5 minutes between contractions. I think we're going to need a little bit more progesterone.
Progesterone. I think he means Pitocin.
The nurse will handle that for you. I'll get her in here right away. And you need anything else from us right now?
I want to eat. I'm getting so tired and weak because they won't let me eat, but I guess hunger is better than pain, so we Gucci. Yep. So hopefully this Pitocin will kick in. They're going to check me in another 2.5 hours or so. So basically we just got to try to be patient and burn time. So glad my mama taught me the fruit of the spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience. Because, you know, it's kind of hard to wait.
You're funny.
No, it's not funny. Just
What?
I'll burn out.
After the epidural, nothing happened. I sat there for 4 hours. Tyler and I were like trying to sleep, but it was just like, I can't sleep. I'm about to have a kid. Like, no. So we just kind of like putzed around the room, and like, well, I didn't. I laid there, you know, and I'd have the nurse come in every 30-45 minutes and turn me from side to side, because you're not supposed to stay on one side too long. But I really preferred to lay on my left side so that some of that numbing could get from my right leg into my left leg, I guess, or like kind of even it out a little bit, because it was so significantly different. Like, I could wiggle my toes in my left leg, but I couldn't move my toes at all in my right leg. So it was kind of a weird sensation, and I didn't like that, but it was still better than being in that intense pain for sure. So at that point, after 4 hours of waiting around with no action, the midwife came in. I did have a midwife deliver my baby, and she was wonderful. But she suggested getting some Pitocin to, as she said, jazz up my contractions. So they were just kind of like, I was still contracting, but they weren't super productive. So I got the Pitocin, and then 4 hours after that, I was able to, I think we were just about ready. They had me labor for 1 additional hour after I was 10 centimeters dilated. And that way the baby was just like as low as we needed him to be, so I wasn't pushing for like 12 years. So then the pushing came. It was nurse on my left, midwife in front of me, husband on my right. Husband and the nurse like each had a leg, and I'm just going to town. But I did push for 2 hours. It was very exhausting. And when he finally came out, I was just like so surprised, because I had just been pushing for kind of a long time. It felt like to me I just wasn't in shape for that, so it was really tiring for me. And yeah, when he came out, I was like, oh my gosh, he's out. Whoa, it's done, it's over. Like everything I've been worried about and afraid of is like pretty much over, except for everything afterwards, which is so difficult. If you've ever had a kid, you know what I'm talking about. The recovery to me was almost worse than everything else. But that goes by fast, and you forget, and you already start thinking about having more kids. So I guess that makes you a little crazy. I pushed for 2 hours, he came out, and then they weighed him, and I was shocked. My baby was 9 pounds, and they had told me that they think he was gonna be around 7.5 to 8, so it was quite a bit bigger than what we thought. But they said for a first-time baby, 2 hours, you know, 9-pounder is not that long to push for. I had some second-degree tearing. Getting sewn up was not pleasant. Obviously, I couldn't feel it, but it's just not a pleasant thought. The only other thing was towards the end of pushing, my epidural started wearing off, and so my left side I could really feel those contractions quite a bit, and it was very painful. I'm thinking it was probably like maybe a 10th or a 20th of what the actual contractions feel like. So for those of you mamas who are able to do it naturally, kudos to you, because that was so painful. And it almost kept me from being able to really engage my muscles like I was before, and so that made it really hard the last 30 minutes of pushing. I just felt like I wasn't totally engaged, because when I would engage, it would hurt worse, which I know a lot of people say that when they could push, the pain started to alleviate. That was not the case for me. It actually hurt more. So anyway, then he came out, he's 9 pounds, healthy baby boy, and to be honest with you, he did not look like what I thought he was gonna look like. I was just like, whose baby is that? Like, he was so beautiful, but just not what I expected my child to look like, and he doesn't look like any of my siblings' kids really at all. So we think that he looks a lot like Dad, which is great. I'm so happy about that. But it took me a little bit to really bond. You know, a lot of people I've heard say kind of, you know, oh, as soon as I saw him, or he looked at me and it was just like this instant connection, whatever. I did not really feel that way. They did put him on my chest, and I just, you know, held him and was like trying to be cognizant of that connection, and kind of, I guess, just like being there with him and trying to connect with him. But it took me a little bit. It took me about 24 hours of like feeding him and nursing him and holding him and looking at him, to where I felt like, okay, yeah, this is my baby, and like we're connected and whatever. So that was kind of interesting to me. But knowing myself, it's not really that surprising now that I think about it, because I'm just not, I'm more like kind of practical sometimes. And so that was different than what I expected, but it was still so good. And I was just so relieved that he was healthy and like whole, and his body was perfect. And so, yeah, it was like definitely the most amazing experience of my life for sure. And, you know, prior to this, I had fears that, you know, like my life was going to change and it was going to be so hard, and I wasn't gonna feel like myself, but really like having him has added so much happiness to our lives. And you know, we all have personal struggles that we have to work through in order to be good parents, but I really feel like he's already made me a more positive and fulfilled person in a way. I don't want to make it sound like my child exists to fulfill me, because that's not the case, but he does add a lot to our lives, and we love him and we're so grateful for him. So he's been a huge blessing. I keep looking over there because he's sleeping in his rock and play right over there. But yeah, they're just the sweetest, and if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like worth every sacrifice necessary to make sure that they're happy and healthy and all that. So so that is my labor and delivery story. I hope you enjoyed the intermittent clips of like actual updates from when we went. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out a lot, and please hit that subscribe button below. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.